We begin with breaking news from Buckingham Palace this hour. Prince Andrew will no longer be known as a prince and will revert to his name, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor.
There's a chapter in the relationship between Sarah Ferguson and Andrew Mountbatten Windsor that still feels astonishing, even now, a chapter filled with secret lovers, reckless behavior inside royal residences, private clashes with senior family members, and a marriage that was already cracking long before the public realized anything was wrong. This is what staff observed, what biographers uncovered, and what high-ranking royals tried hard to bury. The details are startling. Sarah Ferguson stepped into royal life with excitement, but also with a naive belief that marrying the Queen's second son would give her stability. What she actually stepped into were long stretches of isolation. Andrew was serving in the Navy, frequently gone for months at a time. According to multiple accounts, the couple spent barely more than 40 days together each year in the early phase of their marriage. It created a situation where any emotional bond they had struggled to survive. By 1989, insiders say Sarah was already painfully lonely, which is where Steve Wyatt enters the picture. Wyatt was a wealthy Texas businessman, smooth, self-assured, and charismatic. Intro.
Of his friends, they're all running scared, they're all running away. Our daughter suffered 14 years of physical and mental abuse by a similar man who's now in prison. And I have no sympathy whatsoever for Sarah Ferguson and her friends and Andrew.
They met at the British Opera Festival in Houston, and according to people close to her at the time, Sarah became completely captivated by him. Some authors quote those around her claiming she once referred to Wyatt as the love of her life. Whether that's true or an exaggeration, the impact was undeniable. Their bond grew stronger, and Andrew, away on naval duty, had no idea what was unfolding. When Andrew eventually learned what was going on, the marriage took a major hit. From that point forward, the fractures were no longer subtle, they were noticeable to the public. Dr. Alan Starkey, who has written extensively about Sarah, recalls a tense incident that revealed just how cold things had become. While leaving Harry's bar in Mayfair, a heavily pregnant Sarah stumbled and fell, and Andrew kept walking without offering help, leaving her to get up and follow behind. For a couple who were supposed to represent a modern royal romance, it was a shocking glimpse into how broken things had become. Wyatt eventually moved on and became engaged to someone else, but the emotional fallout he left behind stayed with her. And still, even this wasn't the most startling affair of their marriage.
Prince Andrew is seeking new separate accommodation for both himself and his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, in exchange for Royal Lodge, according to reports. The Sun also reports that Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson have agreed to move out if Andrew can move to Frogmore Cottage and Sarah can move to Adelaide.
Came John Bryan. Officially, he was the helpful advisor handling the business side of Sarah's publishing work. But in reality, biographers say he was something far more personal. From this point forward, the story doesn't just take a turn, it plunges into territory that still leaves even seasoned royal insiders shocked. Bryan was allegedly staying at Sunninghill Park, the couple's marital home, a property gifted to Andrew and Sarah by the Queen, according to Dr. Alan Starkey. Andrew was completely unaware that the man supporting Sarah professionally was also involved with her privately. The most stunning detail comes next. It's alleged that once Andrew went to bed, Sarah and Bryan would slip into Andrew's study inside the family home, engaging in intimate behavior just steps away from where Andrew had been moments before. Lord Charteris, the Queen's former private secretary, reportedly reacted with fury when he learned about this. His response was said to be nothing more than vulgar, vulgar, vulgar.
And say, but he's the king. If he wants somebody to not live in a certain location anymore, surely he has the power to where you're able to make that happen, no, Elsa?
Obviously, he's in a very, very difficult position, and I think he would like his younger brother to fall.
Came the photos, the notorious toe-sucking images from the south of France. These were the pictures that blew the private scandal wide open and sent the palace into crisis mode. But those images were only the public explosion of a much deeper issue. Inside the royal household, the reaction was intense. And leading the pushback, according to Andrew Loney's recent biography, was Princess Anne. At a private dinner and allegedly delivered a blistering rebuke. She condemned Sarah's judgment, her recklessness, and the embarrassment she had brought upon the family. What makes this moment striking is that not a single person defended Sarah, not Andrew. Not any relative, not one friend at the table. One witness recalled that Sarah behaved as if she were the one wronged, blaming photographers and editors instead of owning the consequences of her choices. Later, she was reportedly summoned to meet the Queen. A staff member quoted in one biography said Sarah's behavior was odd, defensive, almost irritated, acting as though she still refused to acknowledge that she was responsible for the scandal.
You have someone a patron for charities that are helping children, and this patron is openly friends with a known paedophile, and she knew he was a paedophile by that point. Makes me want to vomit.
I mean, there are certain things you can recover from.
While Sarah's behavior dominated the headlines, biographers maintain that Andrew's own actions played a major role in the collapse of the marriage. One former driver told author Andrew Loney that Andrew had allegedly been with more than a dozen women within the first year of his marriage. So while Sarah's affairs were splashed across front pages, Andrew's were spoken about quietly behind palace walls. Together, those patterns left their relationship with nothing stable to hold on to. In 1992, while Sarah was away, Andrew called her and, according to several accounts, told her they were separating. She reportedly broke down in tears, overwhelmed and upset. But the most striking detail is this: he allegedly told her the decision wasn't entirely his. The palace had reached its breaking point. Senior figures had lost patience. The marriage had become impossible to sustain, and it was time for a public announcement. In 1996, they divorced. But unlike most couples, this wasn't the end.